Cheers. It's actually water. Boy, was May a time. I need to hydrate to talk about all of these books. I had a fabulous reading month in the sense that I read a lot of books in May, and I also read some fabulous ones. Okay, so I took part, first of all, in the Mafia romance readathon hosted by the wonderful Book Refuge. It's Jen at the Book Refuge. It was so much fun doing all of the Mafia romance. I haven't read a good Mafia romance in like freaking forever. So I was like, this is great. This is giving me the push I needed. And I read a whole bunch. Hang on, let me, that's gonna hold. And we're back. So I read all of these books. They were a great time. I also read, what did I read? I read dark romance, of course I did. I read some Sarah Kate, because she's my favorite kind of palate cleanser. I read some weird girl lit fic. I read some crime thriller. I'm looking over there. I read an 80s paranormal, and I read one of the biggest disappointments. I'm still not over how mad I am at this book. But we'll get into it. Okay, let me start with the good stuff, right? With the Mafia romance. So like I said, Jen at the Book Refuge, she did the Mafia romance readathon. I actually ended up reading 2 of the books once the readathon was done, because I just ran out of time, to be fair. I had a lot of books I was reading. However, we're going to talk about them because I still read them, and I was really in a Mafia mood. So the first one is this one here. This is Ruthless Creatures. This is by J.T. Geisinger, book 1 in the Queen and Monsters series. And I had the best time. I cannot wait to read the second book. These are kind of, I think it's, the couple is it focuses on a specific couple, but the way that this one ended with like the cliffhanger and the setup, you meet the character in this book. So the main character's best friend is going to be the main character in the next book. So I feel like they're interconnected. So I feel like start at book 1 and read the whole series. At least that's what I'm getting right now. But this one is about our main character. What was her name again? Her fiance left her. So I know Cage is the guy, but I cannot remember what I meant. I can never remember. If you've been here, you know names are not my thing. But so our main character, her fiance left her literally the day before they were about to get married. He disappeared. No one knows where he's gone. 5 years have passed. He's now coming up to that anniversary, and he's going to be legally declared dead because no one knows where he is. Our main character, she's never gotten over that. She's tried relationships. She can't be intimate with anyone. It's been rough, right? And sort of on the eve of the anniversary of their wedding, her friend takes her out, and she's like, girl, you got to get out of this rut. Her friend is hilarious, by the way. I love her friend. I cannot wait to read her book. You got to get out of this rut, get under a good guy. Come on, just snap out of it, girl. And they run into Cage. Cage is, I just picture Jason Momoa. Yeah, just picture, with just more tattoos and Russian. Yeah, Cage. Oh, I'd let Cage do things to me. I'd let Jason Momoa do things to me. Anyway, so Cage turns out he's the second in command in the Bratva. Yeah. And he's quite a dangerous man, but he really falls for our main character. And I love the fact that he's this like badass, okay? But he will do everything for her. Their relationship I loved this whole storyline. It was so much fun. There's also that kind of mystery element of what happened to her fiance that you kind of get resolved as well. And then, like I said, it sets it up with her best friend, who I love, for the second book. This was just great. The spice was great. The storyline was great. I love J.T. Geisinger's writing. This is my first J.T. Geisinger book, and I am hooked. I love her writing. It's very contemporary. I love it. Oh, this was good. Okay, it was very good. Then speaking of, okay, Phantom. Okay, Greer Rivers, Phantom. I am losing my mind because Phantom of the Opera is one of my favorite classics. I always say Gatsby, Phantom of the Opera, my favorite classics, along with Dracula and also Frankenstein. But this is a dark mafia romance, okay? Phantom inspired book. It is also set in New Orleans, which is on my dream list of places to visit. And it has that vibe of, so one of my all-time favorite vampire shows is The Originals, which is the Vampire Diaries spin-off, the kind of the adult one. I'm a Klaus girl. Klaus forever, babe. Oh God, I love a bad boy. Anyway, it's not what the book is about. There's no vampires in the book, FYI. This is like contemporary dark romance, but You've got these two families that have kind of the city of New Orleans divided. That's where the originals comparison comes in. And the one of the families kind of owns the opera house where our main character, Scarlet Day, performs. And she's kind of at the university at the opera house and she's performing. And there's two brothers. One is known as the Phantom of the Quarter, and he has the hots for Scarlet, but he is like, everybody's scared of him. He is terrifying, and he wears this like mask because you find out why he covers part of his face. And it's like Mafia crime family with this love story. There's also, I liked the mental health rep in this because Scarlet she's on medication. You know, she was seeing things. She was sectioned in the beginning of this book. It's quite a harrowing scene, and she has kind of anxiety. And actually, the way main male character, the way our Phantom deals with her, is beautiful. I loved their relationship. The atmosphere, it had all the gothic vibes, but in New Orleans and the opera house. And he lives below ground, and he takes and then they gives her beignets and it just the whole thing. Also, this book is beautiful. It has, if I can find it, it has these beautiful pictures in it all along. And then his is different. It's like a guy with a skull. It's just, and these two warring families, and then how her father fits into all of this. I love this. No, not Pam. Why do I want to call her Pam Rivers? Greer Rivers. It's part of this Tattered Curtain series, and there's more of these books. I think there's Rouge. And then there's another one that I want to read. They're all standalones, but they're all kind of based on like fairy tale other stories, kind of set in like a Mafia contemporary romance setting. And I love it. Read it. It's amazing. Then, as part of my Mafia readathon, I read two badass women characters. Okay, so here's my thing. I love a badass woman, right? And there's the thing with Mafia books is usually the Mafia guy is, you know, the one, and the lady's kind of like, oh, save me. Not these girls. They're badass. So let's start with this one first, and then we'll go to Richard, because boy, did I love Richard. So this is Purgatory by K.L. Taylor Lane. And our main character here, she is a psychopath. Her and her cousin are basically, this is actually set in London, like London crime family. And her cousin are like, they are like the enforcers for this crime family. They are the ones that take the people, beat them up, torture them, get rid of them. Everybody's freaking scared of this girl, like terrified. She's something else. Okay, she also has quite a tragic backstory. She was in jail, so there's stuff going on there. But she's also there. They also do like kind of like Fight Club, a cage fighting type of thing. And she loves going to the fights, and she usually just like picks up guys, one night stands, whatever, gets rid of them. You know, thanks, bye, next. And then she meets this one guy who's a fighter, and again, picture Jason Momoa, and she's just like, she falls for him. She likes him a little more than just a one night stand. But when he takes her back to his house, she's introduced to his roommate, his housemate, his best friend, who they were in the army together, who kind of tickles her fancy as well in more ways than one. So this is a why choose between the three of them. And like I said, I love the fact that she is sort of badass. There's also a bit of a kind of a storyline going on that she's being targeted and her family's being targeted. Now, I will say this is, I think, the first book in the series. I enjoyed it, but I don't know if I need to, like, right now read the rest of the series. I might at some point, but I'm kind of good with this one. But I did enjoy her as a character. I thought she was just... And then, okay, I'm going to get the other book, because I did also read... I read Wretched by Emily McIntyre, and I also read Hexed by Emily McIntyre, and I've also read Hooked by Emily McIntyre, and she's fast becoming one of my favourite contemporary romance authors. I adore, this is Satan tier, Hexed, okay? This is just underneath, you know, this is Highway to Hell, this is Satan tier. I loved these books, okay? I went on about this one in my other video, so I won't go on about it too much, but let's go on about this one for a bit. So Wretched is, again, you've kind of got crime family. So our main character here, she's the chemist. She grows the puppies. She makes the product, right? Again, she's also described as pretty much a psychopath. She again tortures, beats up people. Everybody's scared of her. She's also a bit of a goth from the way she's described, which I really like. She has lots of piercings, wears black. Very, very goth coded, which I approve. Okay, yeah, thank you for the goss. And she runs into a guy in a bar, has a very a steamy session with him in the toilet, and you know, again, she's one of these people who's like, I'm never going to see him again, you know. She does. He becomes the a new member of the crime family, but he is also an undercover DEA agent. So that's a problem. And I love that in this book, she's the one that he has to give it up for her. You know what I mean? I love it. I love Emily McIntyre's writing. I love the story. Just incredible. And then Hex, like I said, this is Satan tier for me. This is Little Mermaid inspired. Our main character, Vanessa Ursa, is she's supposed to be the evil queen, but she's not. In this one, Ariel is the bad one. They're cousins. This is crime family, I think South Carolina crime family, and Italian mafia from New York. And there is going to be a marriage between Ariel or Aria and the prince, the mafia prince, until he sees Vanessa. And there may be attraction to Vanessa, and there's lots of family secrets and lies. This is the perfect summer mafia romance book. You know, if you want a dark romance, mafia romance book, please read this in summer. It's gorgeous. There's lots of scenes on the beach, at the fair. The atmosphere is incredible. Obviously, all the kind of like the kingdom family and the Little Mermaid-ish references. Her best friend has a blue mohawk, which just makes me think of a fish. And she calls him Guppy. It's just like, I thought this one, I'll be honest, Richard, I still don't know what fairy tale that was supposed to be. This one, it doesn't matter, like, that's not the point, but this one, you got all of the Little Mermaid vibes, but in this kind of contemporary mafia setting, and this book, the rope, the yearning, the foot, oh my god, the two of them, I love them. This is great. read it. I recommend, you know, I can tell. Then another book that I adored was The Brutal Prince by Sophie Lark. This is the first in the Brutal Birthright series. I'm going to make my way through the entire series. Just didn't get time this month. But this is Italian and Irish mob. So you've got the two families, and the Italian family, there's two brothers and a daughter. They have two sons and a daughter, and the Irish family has two daughters and a son. And the Italian family, they're a bit more wild, they're a bit more fun, especially the daughter. She again, I love her. She's wild and crazy. She gets herself into trouble a lot. So this book starts out where she kind of sees, like, down the way some fireworks going, and she knows that the Irish family are having a birthday party for one of their daughters, and she's kind of a bit bored with the family dinner, and she's like, I really want to go over there. So she convinces her brothers that they got to go crash this party. So they kind of sneak in, but she sets fire to the curtains in the library. It was an accident. But of course, they don't see it that way. They're like, oh my god, you're trying to attack us in our own home. And they go after her and her brother actually is the one that pays the price for what she did. So the two fathers then sit down, they're like, how are we going to resolve this? And they're like, oh, I know, we'll make them get married. So the son of the Irish mob has to then marry the daughter of the Italian mob, and they cannot stand each other. There's a bit of an age gap as well. She's much younger than he is. But they can't, like, they hate each other in the beginning of this. And the pranks that they pull on each other is really quite fun. You'll see how the strawberries, and there's a scene in a spa with waxing that it's great. I loved it. But of course, slowly they start to develop feelings for each other. And again, I loved our female main character because she really challenges him. In fact, her mouth and her attitude and what she does kind of gets her into, when you want to go, oh girl, stop. She does get herself into trouble a lot, but I kind of like that about her. She makes poor decisions. I love a character that makes poor decisions in life. It's great. It's wonderful. It's amazing. Love it. Then, God of Pain. So this is Rena Kent's God of Pain. This is the second book in the Legacy of Gods series. I still prefer God of Malice. I'm going to put it out there. Killing and Glendon are still my top tier for now. This is book 2. So I'm only on book 2. I've got all the others. We'll make our way through that as well. This is Annika and Crichton's story. So this whole series is about university. You've got kind of like the British side, which is all sort of royalty, crime family, high-ranking people, business people. And the other side is very much Bratva, American, Italian mafia kind of families, right? So, and they're like, they don't get on, right? They're rivals. So Annika is the Bratva princess, and Crichton, although he's not actually in the King's, in the British side, he tries to stay out of it, but his family kind of keeps pulling him into the goings on, right? So that them two being together is not a good thing, but she kind of has a bit of a crush on him, and he's very like strong silent type. He doesn't say anything, and she's very sunshine. This is grumpy sunshine all over. Okay. I liked it. And also there's this element of, she asks him to kind of be her fake boyfriend because she doesn't want to be kind of married off yet, because her family traditionally would just sort of marry her off to someone. And I liked their relationship. It's called God of Pain because there's BDSM in here. He very much likes giving pain. It becomes very emotional towards the end. But I didn't like it as much of God of Malice. I liked it, I did, but not as much. So I'm really looking forward to book 3 to see what that couple will do for me. Then the last one of the Mafia books I read is this My Dark Fairy Tale. This is Gianna Darling. This is my first foray into Gianna Darling. I know. I'm the last person on the planet not to have read Gianna Darling. Here we are. This was great. I had a great time. Now, the book is not perfect. There are some flaws. I would say our main female character is a little naive. She's very naive. Just a little bit. She's very naive. Probably more than she ought to be. But anyway, but I loved the vibes of again, this is a perfect summer book. So it is set in Italy. And just the vibe, and like they're going around and, seeing Florence and going to the vineyards and all that. It's perfect. So what is the story about? So our main female character, you find out she has got a heart condition, I think it is. And her sister actually died of this heart condition. So she's kind of determined to live her life. She's 21. And she wants to go have a bit of an adventure before she sort of settles down. Her father is from Italy, but all their lives he's been like, do not go to Italy. Do not set foot on Italian soil. Don't you dare ever go there. So, yeah, what do you think she's going to do? Like, if someone says to you, don't you dare, don't you? No reason. I'm not going to give you a reason. Just don't you dare. I'm from there, but no, don't you dare. Of course she's going to want to go. So she takes a, European vacation to Italy, tells her family she's in France, and straight from the get-go, it goes a little wrong because her rental car breaks down on the way from into town from the airport. She stops somebody to help her, but this guy tries to assault her. She manages to get away from him and run away. But as she's running away, she gets hit by a car. And that's our hero. He is the head of the Cosa Nostra. And he is a very feared and powerful man and very rich. And he kind of scoops her up and tries to help her. And all her stuff is gone. She's injured. So he takes her back to his incredible palazzo. And basically treats her like a princess from them on, helps her recover, takes her shop. The stuff he does, the stuff this man does for her. And again, I love these powerful mafia men who are like, I will bathe you. At one point, she can't go to the bathroom by herself in the beginning, and he does that. He helps her. Like, there's also an age gap. I love the age gap romance here, because he's quite a bit older than she is. And he then there's like a pretty woman moment where he takes her shopping, and like I want to get hit by a car and it be a super handsome Italian mafiosi who's going to take me to vineyards and events and buy me designer clothes and wine me and dine me, and yeah, that's not going to happen. But I enjoyed this. There is a bit of a cliffhanger at the end, so I do want to read the second book. We've got to wait for it to come out, but yeah, I liked it. I was like, this is like Pretty Woman with Mafia. And she's not a hooker. That's to be clear. Actually, she's a virgin. But not anymore by the end of the book. So those were all my Mafia books. Now, let's move on to some of the other books that I read. So, here are some of the other books I read. So I will say Sarah Kate is what I consider a palate cleanser, right? Because her books, especially this Salacious Players Club, I'm so enjoying the series. It's fun, it's emotional, but I don't know what it is. It's just when I feel sumpy or when I feel like it's gotten too dark, I pick up one of these books and I love it. This one is the second book in the series. This one is Emerson. It's Mia. Sorry, no, Emerson was the first one. It's Garrett and Mia. So Garrett is one of the other partners in the Salacious Players Club, which is like a sex club. And he has a stepsister, Mia. He's always they've always sort of had a combative relationship, but Mia has always secretly kind of fancied Garrett. And it turns out that Garrett, he may fancy Mia. Now they're step-parent, they're not in any way blood related, right? And it turns out she's got a career as a cam girl, and he kind of stumbles across her as a cam girl and starts to talk to her, but as someone else. And their relationship moves from there. There's some great mental health rep, suicide, depression rep in here as well. I love their story. I just love the way that Sarah Kate can write books that the relationships are so intense and so like emotionally compelling, but also the books are light and they make you laugh. And I just have a great time reading them. She's she's one of my favorite authors at the moment, particularly when it comes to contemporary romance. I just love her books. From a high to a bit of a low. So this is The Fearsmith by Erin Doom, and it was doomed. So here we go. So the story, I had to DNF this, right? But I got to 203. So like I give it a freaking good go. Now this book is like over 550 pages long, but 203. So the reason I DNF'd was because I just couldn't do it anymore. It was going nowhere. So the thing is, this book is about, again, step siblings, and it has shades of so you've got this girl and this boy, teenagers. They're at a orphanage, and this family comes to adopt this girl, and then the boy's playing piano and he's this incredible piano player, and they adopt him as well, or I don't necessarily think they're being adopted at that point, but like fostered. So they take them back to their house, and you soon realize that she's afraid of him, and the girl didn't really want him to come along, but then they have this kind of weird push and pull, and he's like this kind of rebel, gets into fights at school, like all the girls like him because he's dark and mysterious and doesn't say anything, barely says anything in the 200 pages that I read. And it's supposed to be this kind of forbidden, intense relationship, and it is in a way, but that's it. That's all that had 200 page, and this font is tiny. 200 pages. I was enjoying the atmosphere in the beginning and that sort of build up and that sort of the intensity, but I wanted something to happen. And that, so I get that they're probably going to get together, but also the main female character, she was very naive and just too sweet. Even it was giving me toothache. Anyway, moving on to a book that I loved. Okay, I need to compose myself. Flock by Kate Stewart. Oh my freaking gosh. Okay, this book. So I've heard, this is not a new series, but it's kind of been doing the rounds. I think it's been gaining some traction. I've heard people talking about this, and I was like, I love a bandwagon. Jumped on that. I want to know what people are talking about. I want to know what this is all about. I want to know if this is any good. And oh my god, my air is slowly going. If the rest of the series is as good as this book, it's going to go into my second tier. I have book 2 queued up right over there, and I have book 3 coming. So what is this about? I feel I don't want to give too much of the story away because I feel like you have to experience it, but it does say it's kind of a take on Robin Hood, and I see that. So just keep that in mind when you're reading it. But also, so the main story is this girl, she's been raised by her mother all her life. She does know she has a father. He's very wealthy. He owns a lot of businesses in this town, but he's never been around emotionally. He sent some child support, like the minimum. And then she's about to turn 18. He's kind of turning off child support, but her mother's going through a really rough time. So she makes this deal with him that she'll come and stay with him for a year, work at his factory, get to know his business, kind of in exchange for him giving her money, I guess. And I think also he was going to pay for her college tuition. So she gets to this town, doesn't know anybody. Her first day at work, her father's really cold, really abrasive, like complete asshole, right? So she goes to this like manufacturing plant that she has to work at, and on her first day there she meets a guy. So this guy, he's a little bit older, and he's the supervisor. He's actually her supervisor. And they kind of take a bit of a liking to each other. There's a really cool scene that happens in the beginning here. And he's like, come join a party that I'm having with my housemates. And he takes her back to this house and she starts to meet all these people, these guys, who seem to all have raven tattoos. And they start to have, her and Sean start to have a bit of a relationship. And then there is a why choose comes into this. Which I love. The romance, the relationship I'm loving in this. But there's also a lot of, oh God, there's this like philosophical talk around have and have not money, what's going on in this town, the fact that the workers at the plant are being shortchanged on their pay, for example. And I think this is where the Robin Hood element is going to come to it. So this ended and I was like, yes, I must immediately buy book 2 because I want to know how this continues. I want to read the whole series so I can kind of talk about it, because I've only got sort of one part of this. There's also, I'm a massive Fast and the Furious fan, right? And there's like some car street racing in here. And the vibe, if someone was interrupting me while I was reading this, I would like growl at them. Because it was just, I just immersed myself in this book and these characters, and I just give it a go. If you've read the whole series, let me know. No, don't tell me what happens, but tell me if you liked it. Then again, from a high to the worst book I've read this year. Yeah, I don't know if I can say that, but I am so disappointed. This is Enigma by Runix. Now, if you've been here, you'll know Gothic Harnack, Satan tier book. One of my favourite books of all time still. Favourite books of last year. So I was super excited. I had this on pre-order for months and months and months. It arrived. I read it. And I almost threw the book across the room. It almost put me in a reading slump. I had to immediately read Sarah Kate so I could get myself out of it. This book was a mess. Okay, I'm trying to go, how did the same author write Gothic Harnack that wrote this? Now, I don't want to be mean, and maybe I need to reread it a second time and maybe I'll feel differently about it, because I know there are people that like it. And on paper, this is like dark academia. It's a little bit like Gothic Harnack. So it's TA, student, there's like a secret society element in this. There's like a dark romance element in this. You're very atmospheric, very kind of gothic-y university setting that actually did sound a little bit like a copy of the one in Gothic Harnack. But on paper I was really gonna love this, and it was just a mess. I just found the storyline didn't really go anywhere. The resolution was I had absolutely no connection with the romance at all, and it happened really quickly. The whole secret society thing was just a bit of a wet blanket. The writing was odd. So there were loads of description. It was like it wasn't properly edited. So there was one that really bugged me where our main character is talking about a girl that she's run into on the campus, and she's going, our families used to holiday together. We knew each other from school. Our parents are friends. So there's this whole paragraph telling you how she knows this girl, right? And then at the end of the paragraph, it says, so, basically, so to say, I knew her really well. And I was like, well, but yeah, I thanks. No shit, Sherlock. I got that from the entire paragraph of all the ways apparently your family knows each other. First of all, that was pointless. But second of all, it was like, why are you summarizing the paragraph that I've just read? And that happened a few times, and it was just overly descriptive. Can you tell I'm really frustrated and really annoyed about this? And like I said, I might try and read it again, but this tops the list so far of the most disappointing and worst book I've read all year. And I never, ever in my million years would have said that a Runix book would do that for me. Then I read this one. Have I talked about this one? This is Grove Hollow. I don't know if I've talked about this book. This is a paranormal romance about a girl essentially that falls in love with a ghost. Set in the 80s, which is fun. Gave kind of a little bit of Stranger Things, Scooby-Doo kind of vibes. It is very YA. The characters do read very young. This is not spicy at all. It was fun. It was sweet. You know, the high school setting. Halloween is in this. The house that our main character lives in with her kind of crazy ass aunt is very, oh, beautiful creatures. Very Addams Family coded. It was a lot of fun, but as you can tell from the way I'm talking about it, the storyline itself sort of, but the vibes were really fun. So if you just want vibes, it was really fun. Like maybe around Halloween. It wasn't the best book I've ever read, but it wasn't the worst book I've ever read either. So there's that. Then on to my last 4, I promise. Let's talk about some weird girl books I read. Let's talk about some weird fic, weird lit fic, weird and some thrillers. So I'm going to briefly touch on this because I can't sort out my feelings yet on this book, and I might have to talk about it again in my sort of weird book recommendation video. This is Hagstone by Sinead Gleeson. I can't even tell you whether or not I liked it. I genuinely can't. So this is about a woman who was quite a successful artist, and then she moves out of the city onto this little island, and she's kind of like plying her trade on this island, and her like a romantic entanglements with some of the men there. And then there's this like commune of women that live in this place called Silas. And that's very mysterious. Nobody knows what sort of happens behind the doors of this. It's a bit like a nuns, but they're not nuns. And she gets a note one day from them asking her to do an art project and come and visit them there. So you've got that element. You're finding out what's kind of going on in this commune. There's some weird singing that happens. There's like a really odd ritual at the end of this book. There's a Hollywood actor that comes into it that wants to do a documentary on these women. It's an odd book. Then I read these 2 thrillers. What do they have in common? Well, killing. So this is How to Kill Men and Get Away with It by Katie Brent. And this is What a Way to Go by Bella Mackie. And Bella Mackie is the author of, How to Kill Your Family, which I read and really loved. So I recommend that one as well. This one is about a influencer in London, and she's very sort of made in Chelsea coded, very like rich girl, you know. But she likes to get justice for women, and she takes matters into her own hands and to pig farms. It was fun. Again, not the best thriller I ever read, but I did have a wardrobe malfunction. I did have a fun time reading this, I'll be honest. It was a fun palate cleanser of a book. This one, I wasn't expecting what I got here. Okay. So the setup here is that, again, you have this is rich people drama. You know, you have this rich family and they're throwing a 60th, I think, birthday party for the father, for the husband. And he's found dead. And at first they think he fell into the lake, but then they're like, oh, was he killed? Was he murdered? And then, of course, everybody that was at the party comes under suspicion, and his family comes under suspicion. And his family is... basically, all they do is they fight over who's going to get what. Do they get a surprise when the will is read? And one of the daughters is convinced that her father was murdered, and she asks the help of, like, a online true crime sleuth, one of these online sleuths, to help out, and that girl is quite funny. But and all of that is fun. What I wasn't expecting was the Beetlejuice element in this book. Stick with me here. So he dies, right? And then suddenly you get his POV. It's because he is in the waiting room. Okay, see what Beetlejuice comes in. He's in the waiting room to move on to whichever side he's going to move on to. And the reason he's stuck in the waiting room is you go, when you die, you go to the waiting room, okay? And there you're allowed to watch clips, you're allowed to watch what's happening. So he's watching what his family is getting up to after his death. And he's like running commentary on what they're saying. And And he's trying to figure out what happened to him. So you have to, when you're in this waiting room, you have to figure out how you died. And if you then go to the person in charge, it sounds very bureaucratic, it sounds like hell, frankly, in charge of this waiting room, and you say, madam, I know how I died, here we go, this is how. If you get it right, you can move on. If you get it wrong, you have to stay and figure it out. And he's basically, so throughout the book, you have him watching his family and watching the goings on and people trying to work out how he died. It's bizarre, but I liked it. I can give it a go. It's a fun book. So that's kind of a paranormal aspect, right? I was not expecting that, but I enjoyed it. And then I DNF'd the series. I'm so sorry. Please don't cancel me. But Spark of the Everflame by Penn Cole. I read the first book. I wasn't enamored by it, so I'm not going to carry on. But I don't want to end on such a low note. So I read some amazing books this month. I'll also be posting my, might do it before this, but I'll be posting my June. I've got some great books lined up for June. I've got some dark romance. Oh, I've got some thrillers, and I've got some loads of videos planned for the summer. So tell me if you've read any of those. Tell me what you thought. And I will speak to you all again very soon. Thanks for joining me. Bye.